Hey, welcome back everybody. Back to the Mustang. Gonna do a little bit of work on it here. Been putting off working on this homemade alternator mount for a while, just because it's like a lot of fab work, and I bought other parts to put on and random stuff, so I've looked at it long enough. I'm sick of looking at it. I think it's time to fix it. So I'm gonna make a couple cardboard templates here of the head. I'll show you what I'm talking about, and we'll piece together a template. All right, I got my patterns drawn out there. They fit on the metal that I've got. This is, there you go. Get a better measurement now. Start at 3, what do you say? That is 1/4 inch thick steel, everybody. 1/4 inch plate. It's extremely heavy, extremely sturdy. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna get the plasma cutter out because I have one still. You can do this with a cutoff wheel if you want to. Knock yourself out. I'm gonna use a plasma cutter because I have one. So, you know, it would just take longer, that's all. A bandsaw would be awesome. There's some things I want. A bandsaw is one of them. A good belt sander is the second one. And the third is a chop saw. I don't have any room for them really. So those are some really good tools for fabrication stuff that I just don't have. Maybe one day, right? If I get a bigger toolbox. So anyway, let's cut these out. Grind them smooth, make them look good, and try them on. Okay, so that's close to what it'll look like. Not exactly. I'm going to modify it just a little bit. So when we transfer it to metal, so it'll look a little cleaner. Obviously there'll be no tape on it. Once I get it on metal, I'll kind of trace out the back where the bolt holes go by using the other piece for the alternator that we had, because the correct pattern for the bolts is right here. We literally, all we have to do is trace our holes, drill them, and bolt the thing on. We will need 2 plates, 2 of these brackets, one on either side of the alternator, so it'll sandwich together. And then some spacers to go with it. Whatever size spacers we need, we'll make with some pipe. Shouldn't be the end of the world. Or we can go buy some spacers from Lowe's or the hardware store. I don't care. Whatever. So let's get this piece of cardboard transferred over to the big thick piece of metal I've got. And let's see if we need another piece of metal, because I don't know if what I got will be enough. All right, there's a little template that goes on the alternator. Kind of like that. It'll go on the back side though. Like, you know. So I'm going to put all this on, kind of get it in place and put the bolt through the alternator and put it on there and swing this around till I get it where I want. I'll mark it, tape it, and then test fit it, and then we'll see if it kind of sits on there correctly, and then we can transfer it to metal, maybe. All right, I've got the alternator off. I had a piece of cardboard here, and I traced it around the head like so. It's exactly, almost exactly, not quite exactly like the head. That's going to be one piece of my template. I got some more cardboard. I'm going to make a pattern that matches this here. So that's where the alternator is going to sit, you know. I mean, that's a really good point to work from. So I'm going to copy that with some cardboard. Then we're going to put the 2 pieces together, tape them, trace them out on a bigger piece of cardboard. I'll show you what I'm talking about once I get it all semi-smashed together. And then we'll put the alternator on there and kind of move it around in place and see how it looks before we actually cut it out of some metal. All right, so flash forward a couple days and got some news. Turns out that the old plasma cutter here does not like cutting 1/4 inch thick steel. All right, you can see it, you know, it cut through it a little, but it is really not liking it. I drew some sweet templates, kind of looks like a dick, but it wasn't having it. Not going to do it. So I made some concessions. Ta-da! Video unboxing. Psych, already did it. I want to know what it looked like, so I took it out, opened the box anyway. LSX Concepts upper alternator mount bracket kit. Ordered this a while back. It's been like 2 weeks since I've been out here, y'all. And I just haven't done anything. I've been really busy. Sorry. That's the way it goes, right? So anyway, I got the kit. I'm going to look at the instructions, and I don't usually read instructions. Usually just try to send it, but I'm going to read the instructions and get it bolted onto the car here, and let's see how it looks. Bam, there we go. 167.06 after shipping and everything. All right, so now I'm going to have to thrash to try to make that money up, because I really didn't expect to spend $167 on an accessory drive kit. But it's not the end of the world. It works really well. So it's one of the things that I didn't want to have trouble with, was blowing the belt off. Once you get going down the track, getting frustrated because you kicked the belt. I'm not going to have to worry about that now. So maybe it's worth its weight in gold, right? We'll see once we test it out a little bit. All right, might have broke the budget a little bit on this one, but whatever. Let me get my damn hand out of the way. There we go. So, you can't read that. Let me flip it around. And by feats of video magic, bam, installed. Pretty easy. You know what? It was, the description on the little page just shows you a picture. That's kind of crappy. Copy this picture. Like, okay, but it's not as easy as that, because the spacers are really similar in width. They're like really close. So you can't tell which spacer is which unless you have a micrometer on it. So anyway, it's all installed. It looks good. It's heavy duty. All the bolts are nice. Comes with lock bolts, lock nuts with Allen head bolts. I kind of wish they weren't Allen head bolts, because it just adds more shit that I got to keep with me every time I break something. But it's nice and lightweight too. It wasn't very heavy at all. It weighs less than the assembly that the truck came with. So there it is installed. I'm going to measure up for the belt later. So, you know, there's the accessory drive. It's done. All that's really left is painting the crank pulley, putting it on better, painting the water pump. And I got the tensioner sitting over there. The other pieces with the, not the tensioner, the other pieces for the thermostat sitting over there. And the accessory drive is done. It's fairly simple. Now let's talk about the price. All right, y'all. Been a few days, back out here again. Got all the accessory drive done up front, like I explained. I talked to a couple guys who race, mostly one guy. And he told me that, you know, my plans for cutting the trunk out were kind of useless. That the trunk pan has more rigidity than adding the extra weight that I would add to create the same rigidity, if that makes sense. So it's useless. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the set on the spare tire wheel, but I'm going to build a little mount for the spare tire to sit on. I mean, for the fuel cell to sit on, so that it mounts nice and flat and even in the spare tire well, so it doesn't sit down on the bottom, and props it up just a little bit. This will also leave me a space to mount a battery box later. So I put the battery in the trunk, and I'll put it on the passenger side to kind of get the weight over there. So this one will work on next. I'm going to get the tape measure and some other stuff and get to work. 3 weeks later, sorry, things happen. Travel ball, fall ball, practice games, work. It hit 100 degrees last week. Now it's 40 degrees and raining. Welcome to the South. So now let's work on the car a little bit. A quick thing also, I haven't spent any money on the car at all. I've been taking all my money that I would be spending and investing it in adult grown-up stuff. So I haven't spent any money at all. So we're going to work on things that I don't have to spend money on. Like mounting the wastegates, this fuel cell that I haven't finished yet that you can see sitting right there. Let's do that now. All right, first measurement was 20 on the, let's see, the farthest point to the trunk here was 20 3/4, but it's on a little bit of a curve in the trunk pan there, so I've curved it just a little to match that. So I'm gonna cut this out with the grinder, death wheel, and we'll put it back here in the trunk, mock it up, we'll grind the edges down, tack it in, set the cell in there, get it in place, and we'll cut the next one out. So let's cut it. All right, so I went ahead and ground my edges there. All right, cut it, test fit, looks good here. So, sorry if you see steam, that's my breath because it's so damn cold out here tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and tack it in. I'll level it first with my level gauge. I'm also gonna cut this nub off. It's just sticking up, it's just pointless. So I'm gonna cut it all flush with the grinder. Then we'll level this out first. And we'll level that side and give her hell with the welder real quick. Alright, one welded in. Shit, no, my mask. Got it tacked and ground down just a little bit so I can work with it. I can just about pick the car up with it. So, the next one up here is 18.5 across. We got to angle the cut a little bit. We'll do it. No big deal. Let me measure out another one, cut it, tack it in, and then we can set our cell on it. And I'm going to have to cut out an opening right here, like I said. I'm going to cut out a square because the fuel cell is sumped, as you see. And that'll give me room to get my fittings on and off as I need. So let's cut another piece of metal. Alright, so the fuel cell is roughly 14.5 wide, hold a hole. Well, it's actually more like, yeah, it's 14.5 wide, hold a hole. And lengthwise, that was width, lengthwise we are at 17.5, 14.5 by, that's at more like 18, 17.75 maybe. Yeah, 17.75. Alright, so what we're going to do now is, it's kind of dark back here, sorry. We're going to measure in here. I'm not going to cut this out. My next idea, after I thought about this for a couple days here, is to leave the fuel cell high enough. I don't think it's going to make that big of a deal for it to be a little higher. So I'm going to take some tabs off of here and some tabs off of here. Mount the fuel cell to that. Should be good and sturdy. Shouldn't move a bit. I think that's the best way to do it without doing a ridiculous amount of work. Or I could run, I have some angle. Might do angle instead. So I'm going to measure here across and across, and then we'll drill some holes, mount the cell. We'll cut a hole right here for our lines to run out. And we'll have our fuel cell mounted. The next thing we need to do is buy fuel lines. I already have one pump, so I need another pump, fuel lines, and injectors. And then really this thing will almost be ready to run, but not quite. So let's get some measurements and some metal. All right, food time is over. Let's work on the car now. All right, you also had a moment of clarity. I couldn't run a bar from there to there because it would have blocked the exit and wouldn't have been able to get fuel out. So I decided on running two on the sides here. Got one in place. I cut it a little short, but I was a little worried about tacking only to the round part anyway. So I went ahead and made a little angle iron piece here. Welded it to the base. I can almost pick the car up again with it. So looks good there. I'm gonna make another one for this side, just like it, after I take a break because I'm hungry. I haven't ate tonight. So I'm gonna eat and then come out here and finish this. After I finish the mounts here, we'll cut the hole for the tank and drill some holes for bolts to go in, and then we'll be ready to slap her in there. Of course, we'll have to take it in and out about 30 times, because that's what I do. So, we'll be back. Bam! Third support beam in. Welded up, got my tab on, got it welded, ground down flat. Fuel cell sits in there nice and pretty like. As you see, I have my hole to cut out. I used a micrometer and a digital exactometer. Not really. It's all hand sketched. Looks pretty close to me. So I'm going to cut that out with the death wheel. Then we'll mount this hoe in there. Get some spots to drill some holes. And drill some holes and find some bolts in the bolt pile and bolt this hoe down. Alright, I've got 4 holes drilled. All the same. I managed to find 4 bolts and nuts that were all identical, which is pretty awesome. With washers already on them that come out of the car from somewhere. Don't really know where, but it's whatever. I drilled new holes on the bottom tabs of the fuel cell over there, you can see. All of it lines up, so I'm going to dust this thing out just a touch. And I got a little bit of paint I want to put on these bare spots so it doesn't rust. And then we can bolt her in. Boom. Hole has been cut precisely. Leaves me plenty of room to drop some 45s down, run my fuel lines out toward the front of the car. So now that I got all this mess figured out here, I'm going to mark some holes for the front to drill some holes in. I'm going to use these existing holes in the back, but in the front I'm going to drill a new hole closer to the side. It's just easier for the front. So that's next, and we're really almost done. So sucks because I wanted to keep drinking beer, so maybe I'll just do it inside. Pow! That is one installed fuel cell. A little bit of a pain in the ass to get my fingers in there and screw it in. But you know what? I'm not going to have to take that in and out any more than 30 or 40 times. So whatever. Anyway, she's in there, bolted in. I like the way it looks. I can shake the whole car, moving the fuel cell. That's how tight it is in there. I'm pretty excited about it. Let's put a little magnet on here and check and see how bad off level we are. About 1 degree. I can deal with that just fine. So, man, I'm super tickled with this. I've been waiting to come out here and get to work. Finally got some done. You know, now we can move on to other stuff. Really just need our... Oh, let's see if I can get a picture of the cutout. Yeah, there we go. There's our cutout for our fuel lines. Lines right up where we need it. We'll just run our lines under and be done with it and never really have to tinker right there. Anytime we have to move stuff around, we'll disconnect it from under the car. That'll make it a lot easier. So I have to fool with this. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, though. Got to order stuff first. I got to spend money. And I really want to spend money. I've been investing money lately, so. All right, I think we wrap it up for the night. We'll finally get a video uploaded, and we'll be back. There we go. Phone died. So, mega thank you all. I haven't been on here in at least a solid month. I also have some four-wheeler videos that we took. We took that thing out for a ride and tested out the new parts, and it ran damn good. I'm going to highly recommend all those parts. But regardless of that, I got out here, we did some work finally. You see all the shit I got sitting on the car. It's embarrassing, isn't it? And whatever. I'll throw it away one day. Got Christmas coming up too, so we're going to have even more shit piled up everywhere. But I'll get this video thrown up. Thank you all. We got a lot of new subscribers in the month that I didn't do anything. I think I picked up like 35 subscribers. Didn't even post a video or anything, which is awesome. That means you guys are watching, so thank you. Here's some links to some videos in the past so you can link back up and watch. Anyway, till next time, guys, get out there and get to work, have a beer, and peace.